Good morning, good morning. Another failure here on our top edge. You can see we are still maintaining our rotation from our lows back up to our highs. No change as of yet. You can see on ES as well, no change in our plan. Off of our hold from yesterday when I logged off. Make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, okay, you can. This is where I logged off yesterday when we were looking for this rotation up to take out highs. We are still just sitting here. We looked above, failed. We did the full gap to the base before we took our long yesterday. We bounced the same position where we were looking for us to hold yesterday. And we are holding lower highs. So something we really need to take care of, right, is breaking these lower highs, getting us back above if we're going to do these rotations back up. Or, right, if this edge starts to hold as resistance, we are going to have to start looking for this to hold as our offer on this edge, right, off of a failure here from our full rotation. And we'll be looking for, a move back down here to these lows off of a failure. Clearly, we do not care about the gap. So, looks like to me that we want to head down, not up, as of right now. So, our first target, of course, is going to be our wick low off of our previous 15 on NQ, I would say. But RTY leading down.
Voice.
For my NQ enjoyers, you can see that we did something kind of similar, which is we went for our target above. So this is yesterday when we talked about, I'm going to go to our hourly just so that you can see. This is that range that we talked about that we were trading in. Do you see how we held our lows yesterday of this range that we were talking about? And that we then rotated up into this. And we held our highs without the ability to push above. So it's the same thing that ES is doing. We then, from our highs, gap down and immediately rotated down to our lows. We have now pushed up, and we are now gapping again, showing no interest yet. So we're gonna have to watch to see how we interact in our battle low again, because we are clearly putting in lower highs as of right now. So if we push below this and hold, we might have an issue for rotations back through at least to 200. So we'll see, but really just watching this push down into 54, right into these lows. Just in our bottom edge here, where we've seen pretty big interactions. Because if ES and NQ both hold our lower edge on the higher time frame, then we're going to have to look for rotations back again, which would be 150 to 200 point range that we have room wise if we flip this pivot. So I'm going to go from the hourly now to the 15. You can see what I'm talking about now with better context. So again, we've held our pivot. We're rotating down. We are watching to see how we interact as we push into this low. Again, very clear lower highs. We're watching to see if this is going to be some sort of channel. We have to come up like this, and then we go like this. I don't have the answer for you. All I know is that we rejected our highs and that we're headed back down to our lows after rejecting our mid. Looks to me like we're headed down to 454 on NQ at least. Okay. So our 90 edge holding is offer, rotating down. Again, I think we're heading down to 54s here on NQ based off of everything that we just talked about. And ES, I think this is a great first target, but I think we're still headed down into this 75 like I talked about for the full move. So as we come down here, I'm expecting a little bit of relief and then probably one more leg down would be my guess.
The Trump White House are turning to private firms in a cyber offensive. So an executive order is expected to follow cyber strategy, according to people familiar. And thus the White House plans to enlist industry in new cyber strategies.
Hopefully this all made sense. And again, my charts are always available, so even if I'm not here, my charts are still good. Just have to click the link, and you have all of my levels. Pushing into target now. Pushing on a target into both NQ and ES. Let's see how we interact here as we push into our pivots. Remember, every attempt in these lows on NQ have been bought up. I'm just going to mark this as a yellow area, just so you have an understanding of how much room we kind of have as we push in, if we can then recover, or if this is going to flip and then hold this low. But remember, every attempt so far in these lows has been bought up somewhere within this range. And then we're looking for this to find a bid. Same thing on yes, where we'll watch to see if this is going to rotate back up or if this is going to flip and hold below. Just move stops down. Now that we have pushed down into our higher time frame bottom of balance on both NQ and ES, and we'll watch to see what we do here in these areas.
Nasdaq 100 now falls 1% to a session low, with the S&P 500 down 0.5%. Philadelphia Semiconductor Index down 2.6%.
Immediate bid where we thought we would get it. Not convincing as of yet that this is the low, but we are getting a bit of relief where we expected our buyer to be and where we should be taking our first profits on the short idea now that we are testing the bottom of our balance.
Supertanker Skipper has been seized by the US near Venezuela, heading to Houston, according to sources.
Bro, what are we doing? Like, why are we the aggressor all of a sudden? All right, let's see what we do here. Again, we have immediately bounced off of our range lows. I think that there's potentially one more leg down if we see Russell show weakness again. I think that's probably what we're waiting on. So watching for this to find that weakness as we push into VWAP potentially. Probably somewhere here into this yellow box. And we're going to see, oops, wrong tool. We're going to see if this loses momentum in the market off of our bounce here into our lows. And if we fail to get back above and we are then going to rotate down off of this, we might have one more leg down, which I'd be targeting like 850, 58, 860 into our previous day value low if we flip this. So we'll watch to see how we interact as we push down into this, potentially, if we fail here. Right now we are making a higher low, right, off of our pivot. We're watching to see if we can build here and go up, or if this is going to flip, and then we have one more leg down, potentially. Same thing on NQ.
Ukrainian drones hit the primary crude distillation unit and loading rack at Russia's Slavneft Yanos oil refinery in Yaroslavl, industry sources say.
Immediate loss momentum on Russell into our VWAP pivot. Watching to see if we put in a higher
as a
low
result
there.
of this, Russia's Slavneft Yanos oil refinery is suspended output. Crude prices little changed, still down around 1%. So the bulk carrier that was damaged in the Russian attack on Ukraine's south has a Turkish owner, according to sources familiar. So this is a separate event here. A bulk carrier that was damaged in Russia's attack on Ukraine's south has a Turkish owner.
15 seconds till new 15-minute candles. Watching our value low here on ES. So we're opening at our value low of previous candle, opening below POC of previous candle on both ES and NQ. Russell leading down still. As long as RTY is leading down, the market does not have upside legs, in my opinion. We're just going to do that secondary leg that we're talking about. Failure at our VWAP was our indication of that loss of momentum, like we talked about on Russell. Allowing for a push below with RTY leading. We're watching to see if we can flip our edges here on ES and NQ for that next leg down into like 58.60 on ES if we're going to flip this following our pathing. Just keeping an eye on it. Oh boy, it's cold.
French long end bonds lead the drop, with the 30-year yield down around 5 basis points. That's 4.47%. So again, that's the French long end bonds leading this drop. 30-year yield up 5 basis points to around 4.47%. US stocks extend fall, with the Nasdaq down at 1%.
All right, pushing into target here at 60 to 58 off of our failure. This is again, yes into target, and NQ pushing into our ADR here. Just following our pathing, watching to see if we get a larger move here
In
off of
10
a flip
minutes
of
time
pivot,
now at
or if this is all we
10:35
get,
a.m.
just move
Eastern
stops
Time,
down following
Chicago
our
Fed
idea.
President Goolsbee speaks at the Chicago Fed Annual Economics Outlook Symposium. No text is expected, but there is going to be a Q&A.
Again, great secondary risk off here, pushing into secondary target here at 860 on ES. Same thing on Russell. This is our first target off of our flip. We need to see either a recovery of this low and then a pushback above, holding our previous day value low as well as current value low as supportive for longs, or we will expect that this continues to hold and then this ADR becomes resistance for a continuation down. No change, nothing is different. I expect, just like we talked about, that if we can't find a bid down here into these lows and recover, that we will rotate down to 200 like I talked about. So very big area, but it just makes sense that if we can't hold these lows, that we'll rotate back down to the previous distribution. Yeah. So it's a volatile area. You're sort of moving stops down, allowing the trend to play for the downside, but understanding that if we flip back above, that this will then be where sellers get absorbed, and then we will have the ability to then rotate back up through our current balance. We are testing our lows now. Again, just move stops down, allow the trend to play, allow your trade to run. Everything's gone to plan so far, so not really incredibly worried. Just move stops down. If we fail here at our next target here and flip 858, 860, and we can hold previous day's value low, we'll watch for a bid to be present here, and then we'll look for a continuation down if this trend is going to persist. That allows for a rotation down into our next target here into like 839, 832. Just as a FYI, this will be our next area of interest if we were going to just continue this trend down. But we should see a bit of a bounce here in this 850, and then we'll look to see if this flips for that next leg down, if trend is going to continue, and we're going to hold our previous day value as resistance, showing us that we want to continue downward, right? Again, just move stops down.
Markets here. US index is extending falls here. It's the S&P down almost 1%. A dollar is now up on the session, up around spot 1%. Gold, Bitcoin seeing a move to
30 seconds,
the
2015
as well. Gold still up 0.4% though. Does not appear to be a news catalyst behind this move we're seeing across assets here, but we're just keeping an eye out nonetheless. The Dutch government tilts bond sales to shorter debt amid pension reforms. Brings us now 5 minutes away to expecting comments from Fed's Goolsbee, who's speaking at a Chicago Fed event. And
really great retest and hold on NQ, continuation down, following our pathing. see if we get one more leg down here. Retesting our previous day value low here on ES, watching to see if offer holds as we push into like 58.60, which was our target. Just watching to see if we can hold downtrend and then get a continuation, or if this is going to flip short term. Watching Russell for a loss of momentum again for a continuation of our downtrend for the overall move, or if this is done. I mean, this is just a little bounce in the overall move, so I'm just waiting. We have liquidity, sell side liquidity up into 64.
We are shortly expecting comments from Fed Goolsbee, again speaks at the Chicago Fed Annual Economic Outlook Symposium. Again, no text is expected. So there is a live video of Fed Goolsbee speaking, and we've put that out on the feed for those interested.
Russell, starting to lead down here again, watching what we do into our edge. Sell side, trying to continue to hold. No right side of V yet, so no upside trade for me, but definitely a lot of two-sided trading here into our 360, 380 area on NQ, as well as ES here into our 64, like we talked about. Sell side is still sitting there. Downtrend still persisting. Russell new low. See if we get another leg or if we're going to be able to flip back above our pivots. As of right now, I'm not seeing it. I see RTY continue to lead low, but waiting on tech names to start falling as well so that we can get a full market movement down for continuation. On the higher time frame, we are still holding our last candle as sell side. We are holding the halfway back of our candle. We have not done anything bullish as of yet. We are holding our pivots. We are holding our higher time frame downtrend. We are holding everything. Do not go crazy because we're getting a bit of relief here. There's been no trade yet that makes sense for a buy. It is just a continuation of a sell with a reversion back up to our value edges while we wait. Just move your trail down. Stay in the sell that we've already placed in, right? We should be in runners, and we wait to see what we do down here into our lower distribution. ES desperately needs to flip 50s and hold for us to care about a secondary leg, or we could just chop here while we wait for price to settle. 50 is a huge pivot on ES. Or yeah. I'll be much more comfortable when we see ES flip this for our next leg down. Flip and hold. And then we can look for a push down into like previous week's value low. But until then, right, I think that there's just a lot of potential right now for a price to just continue to find a bid here and just rotate back up to our pivot here short term while we wait for it to basically the VWAP to catch up, right, as we come into this. It's something that we need to be worried about. Not worried, but understand that we've pulled quite a bit away from our VWAP and we might need to revert back towards it if we can't get back below 50. Something I can see as we push into our previous day POC, right? Look where we're holding right now. This is previous day value low, right? So a rotation back up into these for another offer could definitely happen. And then we watch to see if sell side sits here and then we continue down. Again, I'll be much more bearish once we push below and can hold below 50s, or it just looks like a reversion to our purple line here and our previous day POC. Does that mean that you want to get to close your average? I don't think so as of yet. I think if we flip our 74.80 area, then you want to the short has invalidated, but until then it just feels like that area is kind of our flip to let us know if we want to continue down on the higher time frame or not. 40 seconds till new 15s. Again, like we are still holding our value edges across the board. Russell's still leading down. We're just waiting on tech names to figure out what they want to do. I'll be so much more confident that we're
The Fed Scoresby has now taken seats at the Outlook Symposium. We've got the live video on the feed. That's Scoresby speaking live now.
I'll feel so much more confident that we're going up and that this is the low when Russell flips VWAP and we don't just continue to reject into it. Again, like I think we can definitely see some short-term rotations back up to our VWAPs, but I'm not going to feel confident that the sell side is completely done until those flip. It'll just be a reversion towards VWAP and then a continuation down on ES and NQ, as well as Russell, to be honest. But that 50 is huge level for ES. These ideas that we're playing off of are huge areas. So just because I think a rotation to VWAP is pretty likely here, that like if you're not already in a short, there's potential still, right? It's like 50 points on NQ is what we're talking about. Like these are big areas. So please be patient and understand, like size-wise, we're getting some decent volatility today and rotations like price-wise, but that also carries weight on your account. So you want to be trading less size because we're getting larger moves. You have to account for it. If you're already in a trade, right, you're just moving your stops down until we can flip VWAPs. Retesting previous day value low here. Again, I think this is just chop while we wait for directionality, while the overall trend is still downside. Just chop while we wait. Russell just rejected our value edge. NQ just rejected our value edge. ES retesting value low after a rejection of POC. No right side of V as of yet. So overall trend is still in play with potential for a reversion to VWAP before we look for a continuation down across the market, which would look like this into our VWAP on NQ, right? We need to flip this like we have already pathed, or we expect that the sell side could still sit here. Right now, we're holding the most bearish possible continuation on NQ, which is just our value edge as resistance as well as ADR. And we're just watching to see if this is going to build out or if we're going to need to rotate up, back up to our previous day value low at 60 before we can continue to go down. I don't have the answer for you yet. We found our pivot at the highs. Now you stay in the trade and you let it play without having to continue to try to scalp a market that's very clearly trending down. Just move your stop down. Let it play. We already got the best entry. Now we're just watching to see how we follow through. Again, I expect a strong secondary move. The second we're able to hold below 50, then we can move down into like 32, 38 area on ES. Somewhere into here. Like we've been talking about. Again, the overall trend, literally nothing has changed. So it's just like, does it make sense to give up our higher average for a slight bounce with no change in our higher time frame trend, right? So like, what's the point? Nothing has shifted. So why are we freaking out? Just let it play.
Silver reverses course now. Last down 2% at around $62.16.
Just our bottom of balance right now, short term.
Gold as well is still up on the session, up around spot 4%.
Russell's starting to lead down again. Let's see if we get some follow through or if lows hold. NQ and ES lows still remaining. NVIDIA testing our IV low, Russell leading down.
Some Oracle data centers for OpenAI are delayed to 2028 from 2027. Again, some Oracle data centers for OpenAI
Amazing.
are delayed to 2028
Push into next
from
target off a flip of
2027.
50 off of our
Oracle
hold of our
delays
low.
largely
Move
due
stops
to
down,
labor and
take profit.
materials shortages.
Into next
S&P
target
500
here.
extending weakness down 1 spot, 2% now.
Do you see why I was like so adamant about just moving stops down? We are now almost at target here at 200s, just like we talked about off of the flip. Again, this is just a larger context. It is so clear that if we fail at our highs here in our upper distribution, we then hold the low of our distribution that we will rotate now to the next distribution, right? Remember, this is what we just traded. This is what we just failed right here at our higher time frame pivot. We just flipped where the liquidity used to be for these rotations back up as resistance for our rotation back into our edge here at 200. This is what we just talked about.
Fed Scoresby again speaking at this live event now as well. Again, the live video is on the feed. No
Later, man. Have a
comments
great
on
one.
policy just yet, though. Oracle shares extending decline to 6.5% now, again with the wider index market as well.
Traded into our target, immediately found a bid at our previous week value low. A lot of volatility. It's a great area to take off some risk, or just move stops down. Russell finding a little momentum here again.
Fed Scoresby says, I'm not saying that we can't consider cuts for a long time.
That was a huge trade.
NVIDIA shares reaching a session low, down almost 2% in sympathy with the Oracle news.
If we can flip 30s, I would say 12s and then 800s are targets next on ES. But this is a huge pivot. This is our previous week value low, right? So this is another one of those big ones where we're going to have to build here. We'll watch our sweeper into 840, 850, right? We're watching to basically see, is this sweeper going to hold off of that news? Can we hold our 50 pivot? If so, sorry, this is getting messy. If we can flip this pivot off of a pushback up and then rotate below, I think that we're probably going to be heading for this area here. I don't know if we get that today. This move already is insane, but this is what I am watching for our like final kind of target here into this VPOC and into this low. If we can flip our previous week value low. I don't know how much work is going to have to take place here. I'll let you know once I see it, but This is the next
Broadcom
move
shares
that I'm
extending
watching
losses, locks
for.
down
If we can flip
11%
this,
now again following this Oracle news.
now that we've done our target here. Again, if we can flip our previous week value, right? This isn't our daily value. This is our previous week value. If we can flip that, then I'd be looking for like 812 and then 800 on ES for follow through. So it's a big area to start paying attention to for the higher time frame. And then remember, like what's been our catalyst so far? Well, Russell leading down has been our catalyst every single time, right? So that's something that we can pretty easily watch for to see if we get the tech follow through, and if RTY starts to lead, then we get that follow through on the rest of the market. I'm guessing we'll probably find a bid somewhere in here, and then we'll have to retest and then flip this for rotations into our final target, into this. Something like this is probably happening. We'll see. I bet that we have a bit more business here. This is NQ into target. We've now done the 150, 200 point move that we were talking about off of this pivot into our lows. Again, I expect a little bit of a reaction here. I don't know how much business we're going to have to do back and forth, but we've now completed target, just like we talked about, into our next pivot. Just going to clean up chart a bit. I'd like something like this on ES off of our 50 flip like we talked about, but we'll see. Later, Sparrow. Later, Kevin. Hell yeah.
EU lawmakers are to weigh easing capital rules on the safest bank bonds. So EU lawmakers are set to consider adopting lower regulatory requirements to covered bonds as part of a broader overhaul of the capital markets. A German member of the European Parliament plans to release a proposal soon to reduce capital charges on covered bonds, according to a person familiar with the matter. The moves are aimed at making it easier for banks to unleash financing for housing, defence, and other projects that can boost Europe's economic growth.
At this point, you should just be in runners. Like, really. Like, we've gotten so much. The further that we get away from VWAP, the more worried I get that we might have to do a reversion. So I'm just like move your trial down, and then let's just wait it out and see what happens. But I don't know. We'll see. Gotta wait for our next Russell leg down before we can go down further. Again, we want to see ES build below previous week value low. Hold this pivot if we're gonna do the last 30 points on ES. No shift, right? No right side of V as of yet, but just again, we're getting so far away from VWAP. 50 seconds till new 50s. 15 minutes.
Third Scoresby says, I still think we have a pretty decent and resilient consumer. Fed Scoresby says that high productivity growth has given the Fed wiggle room.
This might be worth looking to play an option, because you're either going to be really right here or wrong pretty quickly for an overnight, for like a swing. Right? Because I think, like, regardless of what happens, now that we've gotten to target 200 points below, right, off of our flip of our pivot here, I think that we should see a buyer attempt at least a reattempt of this, and then we can go something like this if we were going to go down, or, you know, a bid from here and then a flip and then a rotation back through this if we can recover our edge, right, on the higher time frame. But yeah. Like, I want to stay in my runners here, but it's gonna have to be so convincing that we want to continue, or this might be like a stop out, and then they run it into close. We'll have to see. We'll go to ES so you can see what I'm talking about as well. We're holding where we need to, which is great for our continuation idea, which is this previous week value low is holding its offer, like we talked about. But I don't know if we take these out here at our 12, our previous week low. If we can flip this, right, like I still think 800 is a great target for a continuation trade if you're already in a short, but I'm worried that this move isn't going to last, and then this will mark, like, you know, a nice bid and then rotation back through. But we'll see. I don't know. I want to stay in my runner as long as, you know, our pivots are maintaining, because again, like we talked about earlier, there's been no shift in our trend, right, from what we talked about. This is our open. Look above and fail area. We failed. We opened at this. We held it as resistance into open. We then did our full rotation of our range to a previous month value low, or sorry, value high. So we just did this rotation. This is the same thing that we did on NQ, which is we did our full distribution rotation from high to low, right? This is our upper distribution. This was our news candle from FOMC. So we did that. Our seller stepped back in, and then we rotated back down into our previous targets. So, like, to me, we've now done the full move. So, like, if we can flip our buyer here at 30s, this is a really big pivot for me, because we know that can I turn this off? All right, there we go. All right, trying to show this the best I can. This is our lower distribution, this area here. This is our balance where price was able to sit for quite some time. We are now below that. Our seller, who is sitting up here into our FOMC highs, this was our upper distribution. We've failed to look above and hold following our plan. We've now fully rotated and pushed into our lows from last week, as well as, you know, all of this balance that we were doing. If we can hold this, I do expect this last leg down into our next target here, into like 92 to 800. But it's going to take a lot of effort. So I'm worried that if we can't breach previous week lows here after a hold of our previous week value low, that we might flip here and rotate back up. So this is either going to be an amazing extreme, right, now that we're in these lows, or it's going to be a larger shift in our trend. I'm just watching these areas here, right? Look at all of these lows that happened here. So this might be a good area for potential like lotto swing if we are going to rotate back up, right? Even just for a retest into these on Monday from these lows. Do you get why I'm saying that this could be a decent swing lotto? Just because, listen, like this is our range, right? These are our extremes on either side. This is our distribution, right? Our balance. And we're now in our extreme. So we have one of two options. Either be really right and we rotate back through our distribution, back up to our highs, or this is going to fail, right? And then we continue downwards and we have a much larger downside move on our hands. I hope that makes sense. So it's just something I'm speculating right now because the potential could be huge. But it doesn't mean I want to like leave my current position, but I'm thinking options wise or a swing for the weekend could be starting to shape up here as we're in these lows. I don't know. I've given now the higher time frame idea on both NQ and ES, so we'll see what happens now that we've pushed into target here.
Goolsby says that sometimes the Fed has to take the punch bowl away to fight inflation.
$20, 2015s.
Goolsby says it is upsetting that people say that the Fed should lower interest rates to finance government debt. That's the reason for independence. And Fed Scoresby has finished his fireside chat. And so the US makes a notice on UK auto tariff quotas for Q1 and Q2. Autos within rate quota subject to a 7.5% tariff. So again, UK autos within the rate quota subject to a 7.5% tariff.
Potentially one more leg down. I just filled on ES.
Republican lawmakers
Based
write
off of
to
the,
New York
chart I
Governor
put in the
Hochul
chat.
over China concerns.
From our 50 pivot. Oh, Lord. Huge day today. Potentially one more leg down, boys. Into this 790, 800 area. But that's if we hold our previous week low. We held our previous week value low as of right now. Just like our pathing suggests, off of our failure here. We've done this rotation. We're now holding our lows. And we're watching to see if we can now shift our offer from these buyers to now them becoming our sellers, right? Where this bid was sitting, we're now watching to see if it is now our offer on I look in. If they can hold this, then we can look for one more leg down into here. I am flat though. We'll see what they do.
So keep in mind, White House AI czar Sachs is currently speaking on Bloomberg TV. We'll provide the link to their stream. That video is now on the feed. White House crypto czar Sachs currently defending Trump's executive order on artificial intelligence. Trump's crypto czar Sachs on the Trump executive order on AI says the order seeks to rein in contradictory state rules. Trump's crypto czar Sachs warns that a mishmash of regulations creates compliance issues.
Mm.
Trump's crypto czar Sack says more jobs are being created than lost because of AI.
All right, what are we doing down here? I'm unconvinced either way. Like, I might be missing out on 10 points here, and I'm okay with that. I just get this
Trump's
like
crypto czar
feeling
Sack says
that
China
things can get
wants
really
to
volatile down here.
semiconductor independent.
Yeah, not yet.
Trump's crypto czar Sack sees China not accepting H200, calling it a lagging chip.
We're just retracing the structure on Russell. Like, if you look, like, we had nothing, right? So now that we've broken below this, that's really rough. But I think I'm just watching to see what we do into this. I don't know. Because, like, again, like, I'm really worried. I don't know why I'm so worried, but I'm really worried that this is just a stop out and that we just then rotate all the way this back up. I don't know why, but I just see it across all the markets. It feels early still, and it doesn't
Trump's
feel like a
crypto
good
czar
buy.
Sacks has now concluded
But it
his
doesn't
remarks
feel like a
on
great
Bloomberg TV.
short now that we've gotten this huge move. Like, I'm getting a little paranoid into these lows because, again, like we know what could potentially happen for a reversion with like what we talked about here for like rotations back up. I don't know. It has me a little shook. Not gonna lie. I don't like it when we do all of our move in one day. I mean, like, I like it, but now what? Now what? Like, even if we don't, like, I just feel like reversion to VWAP is really necessary at this point. it doesn't have to happen. Like the market can be unreasonable and we could just continue down, liquidating, but like I would like to see a reversion to like 25, 300 or something on NQ. Just like at least a bit of a better retest. And like 850s on ES. Just a VWAP at least. Like show me like this is real and that higher time frame agrees. Don't just like test it once and then we just are dead. I guess like once people are like super bearish, that's when I start to be like, okay, we need a bounce. Too many people bearish. Let's trap people who are buying the lows or selling the lows, and then see if we can get a better reoffer. That's kind of my personal feeling. Like when we get moves like this, at what point are like people just like panic loading the boat down here for sells, right? And like maybe they'll be right if they give it enough time, but it feels more punishing to go up first than down, right? But I don't know. Yeah, it has a shitload of room. But like this edge needs to be retested for sure. If it doesn't, like that's Monday's gonna be our Sunday night into Monday is just gonna be unreasonable if we don't find our bid here. Yeah. Listen, like we just got this like basically a discount for a potential Christmas rally that would just retrace this move now, right? Like that's kind of my thoughts is like are we gonna allow the market to puke into Christmas? I don't know. Or did you just get like your discount buy for rotations up over the next, 2 weeks? It's hard. I don't know, man. I'll never buy Tesla, but maybe just market itself. I don't know. Let's see. I'm really concerned about this as a reversion area. We're retesting our value low now from previous week off of our higher time frame dip by rotation area. No ability to hold below previous week lows. Just see how we interact into this pivot here again on ES. Again, this is what I'm watching on Russell if this is going to fail to continue downward. Just this flip back above our pivot and then bid. Like there's just nothing here on NQ if we flip this. Like maybe we come back up into this sweeper here into 300. Like retesting this liquidity on footprint makes a lot of sense to me. And that would line up with a reversion to view up on the 30. We'll see. POC is shifted on ES down here. So that's that POC shift is giving you, if we continue to hold these lows and this doesn't flip offer, that's telling you that we have potential back up to 860. Just as an FYI. I don't know. I'll go with whatever Russell says at this pivot. Again, I'm flat. I closed into the low on ES at 805, just like we talked about. No, just waiting for these guys to figure out what they want to do. If we can get a bid and then like a rotation up, that'd be sick. For, you know, like a flag here, take out these highs, recover our value, rotate back up into this liquidity here, and then figure out where we want to go. Just fill this LVN. I don't know. I don't have enough information yet, but I'll wait for this flip back of our
Seeing the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index extending declines, last down 4%.
How your Tesla calls doing? Good bounce so far. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. We'll see. It's something, but
S&P 500 information technology sector hits over 1 week low, last down 2.5%.
8%. Hell yeah. Tesla is like its own beast these days. You just play spy or something, you know? I don't know. I don't follow like Tesla enough anymore to know price action wise, like if it how it reacts. I mean, I'm sure the entire market's gonna get upside, but I just saw this stuff on excuse me, ES and NQ. But it makes sense that I mean, the weighting is so heavy. Makes sense upside would happen. See what happens as we push into like 280, 300 on NQ. Again, that's just this liquidity that's present here from the sweep down. This is just a reversion to VWAPs, remember guys, like nothing crazy yet. No like right side of V, no, you know, break of downtrend, etc. Higher time frames are still holding, but we're getting a nice little reversion off of a we just got way too far away from our average price. So reverting back up makes sense. This is what I was worried about. And now we'll see what we do. Mark this as reversion target. Change this to purple.
So according to Ukrainian Navy spokesperson, Russian attack damaged a total of 3 Turkish-owned vessels in Odessa region.
The continuation of this upside, I think, is going to be completely dependent if Russell can flip our value low at 62. Like we have passed. Excuse me. Let's see, just for like short-term sake, if we can get this move at least to 300 on NQ off of the flip of our value. That'd be nice. New 15's opening here. 5 seconds. Opening at POC of previous candle so far, holding. As we push into this 270, 300 area, it's your first risk off if you are playing the flip. Offer sitting at 275, VWAP sitting at 300. Pushing into our target now. Secondary target would be up into 350, 360 for the 15-minute reversion. That would be aligned with ES pushing into 850, 860 for the reversion. So we'll see what we do here. Just filled another 2 into 280. Next target, it's at 300, like I said. And then we'll just look for that 340, 360 area above if that flips. Hell yeah. Oh man. Bro, I didn't get filled at 300 there. That's crazy. All right, I exited my 300, just moving that limit into 290. And then just leaving my runners at 330, 350, 360 for the full fill for reversion if we're going to go higher. That's what it felt like. I always just immediately close then. If I don't get filled on first attempt, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna let this come back on me. Clearly someone else is there who's bigger than me. Yeah, I usually do as well, but, you know. Feeling a little confident today. Russell's flipped our pivot at value. I think we head to 71, 72. Just into view up would be my guess, but I'd like to see a better retest than this. So I think we see a bit of a pullback, and then we look for like one last leg into this potentially, but we'll see. Just as we head back into VWAP, and then I expect sell side to then try again, figure out what we do. Maybe something like that. I don't know. VWAP should tell across the market. Again, this is just like us coming back because we were way too far away, and so we revert. People are way too bearish into those lows. That's what I was saying, is like the punishment aspect is just so, like when I don't know. There's just like this sense of like, people are getting a little too excited down here. Yeah. I feel it in my balls. Like when I'm in euphoria off of a trade, it's like, maybe I should close. Mm-hmm.
Fitch rating says global oil and gas outlook for 2026 is neutral.
waiting on Russell to find that next leg if it's going to do it. If it finds a bid here, again, like we talked about, into our value low, then probably one more leg up on NQ and ES. If it fails here and we push back below, then no confidence. Again, this was just our liquidity on NQ into our 300.
We have posted out the piece from Fitch Ratings. Again, global oil and gas outlook for 2026 is neutral. So Belgium, Bulgaria, Italy, and Malta say they voted in favor of long-term freeze of Russian assets in EU procedure on Friday. So according to Nikkei, Japan soon to establish a framework with Central Asian countries for Japanese AI tech will help region's mining sector.
They're killing the premium spike now, right? After we got our first liquidity. That doesn't mean that the bid is over with, but you're not, how do I word this? We're looking for a reversion up to our liquidity into 300s, right? We just got that on NQ. That was our target. Now, a lot of the premium spike on options is going to, they're basically just punishing it, right? Like a lot of people are taking profits off of that on the premium spike. We could get one more leg up and it might still not even match the premium spike that was hit into this supply. So we could even like go above this now and it still might not hit what was just gained here on options. I think this is them now just taking profit, and anyone who's greedy, basically all of their monies. I mean, Maldito, I don't know, what are your options now from your 100% spike from 8%? What are they at now? Now that we've hit that sell side liquidity? 45, yeah. We'll see what happens. I think there's potentially one more leg if Russell can hold here in our pivot. Keep this buyer off, but I don't know if we get the same spike again that we did on options. We'll see. Regardless, we got our reversion that we wanted. Now we just have to wait and see what they do. I think we could chop here for a bit and then do next leg after premiums drop a bit. I don't know. It's hard when you're in like this abusive environment for options into Friday close with people all panic selling into the lows.
What is up,
Yo.
movement enjoyers?
Sig, I have a question on the break of 200s on NQ. What prompted you to enter as opposed to earlier breaks at 200? Oh, for the long? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So, we had no confirmation of Russell shift yet. That's all. So like we're seeing basically like chop, right? The trend is still the same, and we're seeing like little looks above, right? But look at what's happening on Russell at our pivot. So when I'm looking for a buy, do you see what happened on RTY here? Follow my mouse on NQ. What's happening here on Russell? Why do I care? Do you see what I mean? Yeah, right. So we have full market participation for the pivot shift on the flip. They'll look above 200s on NQ, with Russell also holding our previous highs as supportive on the look above. That's why. And then we saw the same thing on ES as well here, right? Follow my mouse across the board, higher low. So we got our final look into these lows, and then we got our push back above previous week low, and our bid sitting there at that 12. So the things that I really like to see is full market confluence, and then it's just playing into the new open for that continuation up with a bit more confirmation. That just feels less messy to me than trying to just like sit in this choppy downtrend for a potential rotation up. It's a bit better of an entry, you know, less emotion when we can just play off of this with Russell holding, and then just play that right up into 300. Double confirmation, exactly. Sorry, Mario.
No, you're good. I'm just saying hello. And then you hit him with the Brian Watt, follow my cursor. I had some nostalgic flashbacks there. I wonder if that guy's still kicking.
Still
I guess
yelling.
that's the polite way to say it.
Good.
Yep. He put a video 14 hours ago.
Hell yeah.
What a G.
He does like forex now, right?
I don't know. He posted a short retirement portfolio glide path.
Nice.
Well, it looks like you guys had a good morning. Best morning in probably a month, huh? In terms of movement, at least.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see if we like just balance or continue to sell.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at with them, is like, this is a super important area, and it's like, it's a really important area for dip buyers on the higher time frame who are going to want this area for like a potential Santa Claus rally, right?
Yep.
But it's also like, if they fail, it'll be a huge burden on the market with all the buyers trapped down here if we like open negative on Monday, and then we have like a lot of room to fall. So it's like, it's a good gamble, right? Because I mean, it was a good gamble before the pop, the spike, which is when I was talking about it, because everyone was so panicky into the lows there. I think there are going to be a lot of people who are trying to swing over the weekend for a pop-up. I'm
sure.
Yeah. I wanted to only take advantage of the premium spike from this, but I don't know. I went over it a lot earlier, but I was looking at on ES, there's this area from like 800 to 820 where we've just been seeing these like dips getting reverted back up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was like, okay, we gotta, I closed my short there because I was like, this has a lot of potential to do that same garbage again for potential like reversion up into like 840 or something.
That same area, it's a while ago, we've traded through it, but like October, this was like our hard like pivot as well. There's a lot of historical here.
Yeah.
It's like to not a lot in here.
You got a little laggy there.
But well, the internet's going down. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if we close below 790, 800 today, then the market's kind of cocked.
Yeah, it's cooked.
Yeah.
We're going down 200 points then on ES, I think.
Yeah. But if we can hold, then I feel like reversion feels at least likely into next week. If it doesn't just happen today.
It's seeing here a piece from Fox News. Trump's green light for Nvidia sales to China sparks alarm on Capitol Hill.
When they were announcing all of the China sales with the chips and stuff, so they're gonna make them in Taiwan and then ship them to the United States to be checked and then ship them to China. It's like the most convoluted because they can't put a base in Taiwan in case of like an invasion or something, right? Like,
in 2022. So lawmakers on Capitol Hill are split over the Trump administration's decision to allow Nvidia to sell chips to China, a move that some see as a dangerous concession and others view as strategic. Some lawmakers are worried about putting one of America's most valuable products into the hands of its greatest adversary, while others familiar with Trump's thinking believe it's a move that sets up the US for long-term success.
Respect our 200, this lower node off of our offer at 300s. See if we are able to hold these lows. Remember, this is where that buyer was, so we're just retesting structurally this edge after we got our spike. And now we're watching to see if we can hold this edge. Here, I'll give you a better visualizer. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just think you guys can just like see what I see off of the fixed range. But there we go. So we're just retesting our edge here off of the look into our sell side sweep that we saw here. This is what our target was, right? Into 300. We now are retesting the buyer now that we've tested that sweeper and saw that that seller was still sitting there. So structurally, all we're doing is retesting our edge. That's all we're doing off of the premium spike. So we got our bid and hold, right? The flip into target. Now
we have posted out the article on the feed for you to read through.
We are testing to see if this buyer is still willing to defend and if we can then flip. So what we're going to be watching for is this seller willing to trap these buyers that are up here over 260? This is where I'd expect sell side to be sitting, right, for the lower high. So as we push into this guy, keep an eye for a potential reoffer here. Now that we've gotten our bid, you expect sell side to try to sit here, and this is the offer that you're looking for. This is your first risk off for longs if you're playing off this low.
As Turkish Foreign Ministry statement.
Right, we expect that sellers are going to try to defend these highs. If we can take out the highs, then it's a really great sign that for continuation. But watch this edge here to see if they're going to try to offer this. If they do, then it'll just be a rotation back down like this. And then we'll figure out if we then go up off of this or if we can flip it for continuation down. On the shorter time frame, I just want you to be able to see this. But good hold of our lows. Now watching to see if we get a lower high offer. Or if we flip highs, if we break highs, then I just expect us to then continue upward. But we'll see. I just want you to, I want to show you where I expect that seller to be so that you can visualize it as well and see it on DOM being like, oh yeah, there's that seller sitting there. That makes sense. What do? Do they fail here or do we succeed, right? Does it make sense for me to take off my first risk into this area? Can we flip it? Can we hold? I think that low hold was great, but this should regardless be your first risk off because this is our retest of our POCs from our previous candles, right? You can see that on the 15-minute. So as we push into that, watch for your offer to try to defend for our lower high. And what you'll look for the short side is if we push into this and then offer a lower high off of an initial reaction, then you might get that move down that we're looking for. All right. If we can flip it, then we'll get that next leg up. I'll be right back. Oh, Lord. Man. Woke up today and my lips were so chapped. I don't know how to prevent that.
And it's that time of the year. You gotta just like wear a Vaseline face mask every night.
Yeah, it's like,
Fully commit.
Did I just move something? Oh no, I didn't. Held our pivot on Russell, but offer still sitting here trying to defend this edge on NQ. We can just see that that's right into our POC of previous candle here, right? Just watching to see if we hold that and then are rotating down for this just a balance area right now, or if we can flip it and then go supportive on the flip over 300s. I just wanted you guys to be aware of where that seller's sitting, because I think it's something that you can easily add to your repertoire of like, oh, this makes sense that like I'm looking for our buyer to be here into these value lows for a retest. I'm looking then to take profit. If we see a higher low here, I want to be playing off of this as our risk, right? And then like, where am I looking to take profit? Well, into our POC of our previous candle on retest. So like the long, if you're playing the balance trade, is this is your risk, right? The higher low is your entry, and you're playing it up into the known seller here. And then you're watching to see if our offer sits here. And if we don't take out highs, then you're in a good position. Wait, that's a really good point. Someone said, can you even imagine what your pillow would look like in the morning if you did a Vaseline face mask?
Yeah, it would be no moisture. You'd have a nice dry barrier.
I think I would have the largest breakout of my life.
Yeah. Surely clogging all of your pores simultaneously is good for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Let's see if we get a sell side sitter here, or if we can flip this 300 and bid. Russell holding, which is a good sign. But I want to see us look into this liquidity and then push back below 275 if sell side's going to win this out. Just watching to see how we interact here into our highs. If highs are taken, again, bulls win for the reversion trade on ES, and then we go for that VWAP test on Russell. $300 test. See if this flip can hold. Taking out highs.
Danish presidency of EU says EU governments agree to indefinitely freeze Russian central bank assets held in Europe.
What's going to happen first? 40 to 60 target on NQ, or Russell into VWAP and lost momentum? Let's do it. $75. RTY should find a bid here. Offers pretty bid resting at 63.40 on RTY, and they're advertising 69 here again. So just watching to see what we do. But I'd like to see, like, I mean, again, like a reversion to VWAP just makes sense. So I'm not like incredibly worried here. long as this higher time frame trend is still kind of pushing up, or not, sorry, not the higher time frame, the lower time frame, higher lows. We're watching our pivot. I'm just gonna keep an eye on this. I'm not really worried about like this lackluster action here at our pivot as we eat through our supply at 300. I think this is just a way to kill premium before we figure out what we want to do.
Big two-sided here in ES at this 40.
Mm-hmm. Could hold the POC so far on ES on our pivot. Just watching to see if we can hold the flip. If we get one more leg up into 60, or if this is going to fail. NQ, a little harder for the read. Not a lot here. Just our offer still at 300 that we're eating into. Watching for a Russell continuation though for the overall idea. As long as that's holding our value edge and we're continuing to see a bid, just makes sense that overall we're just looking for that move into VWAP like we talked about. Why is Rory trending on Twitter?
Rory's trending on Twitter. What did he do?
It's huge trending.
Oh,
Wait, there's a condom in Epstein's place that had a picture of Trump on it that said "I'm huge."
Oh.
That's why it's trending.
All right. Sometimes I hate this timeline, and sometimes it brings small joys.
There's no way that that is real.
Small joys.
Jesus Christ. One image released Friday shows what appears to be a bowl of novelty condoms with a caricature of Trump's face. The bowl has a sign saying Trump condoms. Each condom bears an image of Trump's face with the text, "I am huge."
Holy. Well, I know what I'm getting everyone for Christmas now.
Can someone check on Garoto and make sure he's okay? You know, Oracle's not looking so hot.
So, reminder at the top of the hour, we get the Baker Hughes oil rig count prior 413, total rig count prior 549. Surely expecting Baker Hughes data.
Can we figure out what we're doing? Or am I gonna give up? How much time do we have left? 15 seconds, still new 15s. See what we do into
Turn
this.
of hour.
This will probably be where I determine if I'm staying or not, depending on our reaction here.
Total rigs 548, 548.
I love that Larry Ellison went from the richest man in the world to the poorest man in the world in like a month's time.
It's the dream. Declare bankruptcy, do it again. You know? Easy.
Oil rig count 414, 414.
Went from being like $1 trillion, a trillionaire to a trillionaire in debt. Just insane. Watching to see if we can flip this. Yes, holding where it needs to, still no problem there, but offer is really going to try to sit here into 95 to 85 on NQ. And if they can defend it and slap us down, then I think we do a full rotation down to 235. But I don't have a ton of confidence yet. I'm just watching our offer sit here with NVIDIA leading downside, but Russell's still sideways, so it's just like one of those things where I'm not really trying to be too crazy, because I know that as long as Russell's holding and we're just kind of like chopping sideways here, we're not going to get anything drastic. If we can flip this, I'll start to look for plays again, or if we can push into VWAP and then see a really strong reaction, I'll look for something. But right now, I'm just watching to see if our offer sits into this 80 to 95 on NQ from our previous 15-minute candle. If we don't see any lack of interest, or like any sell-side interest there, then I think we still just are slowly grinding our way up with our bids stepping up at higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. It's just taking quite some time. So again, I'm flat, but waiting for a RTY move, ideally to influence us. I think just like we gotta wait for VWAP tests. Yeah, it's still holding where it needs to for our move to 50 to 60. Did someone see the clocks also? I think it's just how long the bot's been in the room. That's all. Yeah, like I said, I'm just waiting. There's nothing here yet. It's just so slow. While we just chop around VWAP, waiting for Russell to figure it out. My opinion is really being based off of like what happens here on NVIDIA as we push into these lows. And again, like ES is just on the SPY is just recovered our edge off of the look below. Now we're watching to see how we interact here into our pivot. If we can flip, let me delete this. Flip above our 8390, I think that we just rotate back up. But if this holds, then I'd be expecting sell side to then do something like this for rotations back down, trapping. But as of right now, I'm just seeing this as like a dip, and then we'll probably do something like this, would be my guess. And then we'll look again to see how we interact into these highs. I think all we're doing right now, guys, like I said before, is just killing premium off of the initial spike. And then we're heading up to our target at VWAP. That's still like my position. And then from there, I don't know what we do. I'll know more once we get there. We're just eating through our supply that's still sitting here from our initial target. Full reversion target.
3 minutes here until new 15s. 3.5.
According to Oracle, they say site selection and delivery timelines established in close coordination with OpenAI following execution of agreement and were jointly agreed. Oracle says there have been no delays to any sites required to meet our contractual commitments. All milestones remain on track. So again, Oracle says there have been no delays to any sites required to meet our contractual commitments. All milestones remain on track.
There's Garoto doing his job.
That's our target, boys.
I did see a little bit of movement towards the upside on the S&P 500 off the back of that. Again, Oracle says there have been no delays to any sites required to meet our contractual commitments. All milestones remain on track.
Okie dokie. Bro, I don't know. This is it. We'd have to get back into
Still expecting
value for
Federal
anything
Reserve
more.
Corporation data.
What we can do now, though, Maldito, is that we can punish. We can now. We've done like the full reversion. Now it's a squeeze potential. If we can flip. So. I mean, like we can. If we can flip. I mean, we have to flip 60s for anything new. But if we flip 60, then we have room. Remember, this entire idea, here, let me turn off my drawings. This entire idea is based off of, remember, that reversion zone below, but also POC shifting. The reason why we believe that this is our reversion target is from our POC shift here. From our reversion zone low at 20s.
Six
Right?
counterparties
We hold that,
take
and then we're
$838
rotating back
million
up
at Federal
to
Reserve
our
Corporation.
POC. Right, because this is where that shift happened, where POC moved down to this lower distribution. And then it's just a rotation back up towards that distribution. And it's also where our reversion zone off of PVZ is sitting, this box here, this green box. So we hold that we hold our highs, right? The highs of our lower balance here. And then we're rotating through structure and retesting now our edge. So if we can flip 60s, then we can get back above previous day value and start to trade in our previous range. And then that allows us all of this as our range above, right? Because look at where our shift happened. It happened at 60, and then it happened at 890. So that gives you room to 890 to 900. 90 to 900 as your secondary target if we flip 60s and make it supportive. Does that make sense or no? I'm just like watching our POC shift of our our stair step down, and then the bid failing at the the offer failing at the lows, and then the bid stepping back up. So I don't know how long we're gonna have to be here for, but if we can flip back above previous day value low and our POC shift, like, pretty important. For NQ's sake, which is what, like if you look at Tesla, like look at what happened on Tesla. So we held our lows from yesterday, right? Our balance lows. And we then recovered our IB low and have now rotated to the mid. So I expect a bit of a offer needing to be here, but we still have room, right? Like if we can flip above this seller, then we get that secondary leg that we're talking about on the rest of the market. But we gotta show this interest above. Like there's so much liquidity resting here at 360, 350 on NQ. So much. And just into this like 400 on ES. It's just obnoxious. This like 360 to 400. Or sorry, this 860 to 870 on ES, and this 360 to 400 on NQ. I don't know, we'll see. But I think that there's a pressure that is amounting that if POC moves here on NQ, like we saw it move into our lows on ES, right? Where are we targeting? 550, right? With the POC shift. Do you see how it's attempting right now? That's what this line is. That's coming down. So if POC from our highs at open is now shifting downwards, that means that our value structure can change as well. Let me turn off our VWAP just so you can see this. So if enough volume builds here, our value edge is going to shift from this being our value edge at our highs to it probably yeah, it's already doing it actually. It just did the shift. So this value edge is now down here, and then POC is now moving into this 60. So if we can flip our 60, that'll be really interesting for then a rotation up into this upper distribution that we had this morning. But until then, we gotta be very careful. This is just where our known seller is at 60.
So reminder, at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Trump is at a swearing-in ceremony. We'll get the video and we'll pop it on the feed for you.
Yeah, like I just like this is the reversion to VWAP, right? So like until we can flip VWAP and hold it as supportive, it's like hard for me to say do we do anything else. We've seen what our reaction has been so far at this VWAP, and it hasn't been pretty at any point. It's been our sell. It's been a sell. And it's potentially another sell. We shall see. But really nice dip buy. I just don't know if we get the follow through that we
There
want for
doesn't
more.
seem to be a video for Trump's swearing in ceremony, but there is a video for his signing ceremony later on at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
This POC shift should be very telling on NQ. Same with Russell and RV walk target.
Trump's signing
Can we flip
ceremony
it, or is it
at
going to
3
hold?
p.m. That'll be the bill honoring 1980 Miracle on Ice Olympic hockey team.
Bro, that's crazy. This market is so cooked. IB is going to allow brokerage accounts for stock market to be funded by crypto stablecoins. But what's interesting about that is that you can take out loans on your crypto and leveraged positions in crypto to get assets. So you could technically use leveraged crypto to now buy stock.
Hell yeah.
Technically. The markets are so interconnected now. It's so gross. I sold the literal bottom of this market. Like my limit fill at 805 was the literal bottom. Did we even tick lower than that? I don't think so. Love that.
Ukraine says it struck Russian oil platforms in the Caspian Sea. So sources in SBU say Ukrainian drones hit Russian oil rig in Caspian Sea for the second time in 2 days.
Hmm. Yeah, I think if we can flip 60s, this looks good for
French
a move to
French presidency
mm,
official says no Ukraine meeting in Paris on Saturday.
maybe like
They're
the
working to get common base between Ukraine, Europeans, and the US in coming days.
maybe to like 420,
There's still no
440.
document. There's still no joint document between Ukraine, Europeans, and the US.
I'm just thinking because I'm not staying for the full session today. There's no reason. We've made so much today. But
Also, French presidency official says Ukrainians have made it clear that they will not cede territory. And they're discussing how a type of NATO Article 5 with US involvement would work as part of Ukraine's security guarantees.
like this makes so much sense. If you think about this, let's like put this on an hourly instead and change this to regular candles, then turn off indicators. listen, like this is what.
Just a reminder, Trump is supposed to be at a swearing-in ceremony. There's still no live video for this.
This is what we were talking about before, which is this breakdown from our failure at our highs of our balance that we were trading in here. And then we got our short at our 50, remember, on NQ. And then we got our rotation down to our 200 to 180 area. This is the top of this previous balance that we were trading in. We were expecting a bounce and a reversion back up to this edge. We just weren't sure if it was going to happen today or into Monday with the overnight session giving it. So now that we've gotten our bounce off of our edge on the higher time frame, we have to be very careful here because this is where our sellers swept the market down. But as we push into this edge, I think that if we can flip 360, you have room to 420, 440 just into this edge. But we have to be really aware that this was just a reversion, right? Like the sell is still in play. We got our bid where we wanted it, but we know that there is just a insane amount of sellers who are going to be trying to defend these highs because they don't want us back up here into this upper distribution that we were in, right? They don't want us back into this box. So as we push into this, we have to watch to see what our reaction is going to be. And it might take, 2 sessions to play out to get us back in or for a failure. But as we're rotating up here, like we have to be aware that this, of course, is where sellers are sitting, right? This is our VWAP for the reversion into it. Now, what do we do, right? It might take longer than you want. That's what I'm trying to really get at here. So we can go back to our 15-minute. And going back to our setups that we went over about this being our bounce point and where we would head, right? So we're here now. This is our reversion. Now, what do we do at our pivot? I don't know. But I don't think I'm going to be confident that this is the that we have more upside until we can flip back above our higher time frame pivot that we have marked and recover that. To me, this just feels like where sell side's going to try to sit and load as we push into that. So without clarity, the only thing that I know is like if you took options like I was talking about, like I think it's fine to try to hold for runners, or if you're in from the lows, like this is fine to try to hold a runner just in case we continue into end of day. But like we've now hit our target, so you should be 90% risked off in my opinion. Just let this run. I don't know. I mean, it's just a bear flag at the end of the day with a retest into our bottom balance. Like it's we did the thing. If we continue going up, awesome. But like, I'm not gonna be here for it. we did the move that I care about. Is there anything else that I see before I dip? Not really. I mean, we have to flip the pivot. Like, there's nothing else to do other than just wait. Like we can see POC attempting to shift here at 60, but it's holding as offer.
Potential trap at that 45 look on ES. So tight. Liquidity back on ES 47. 3 minutes here until new 15s. Will be final 15 until turn of hour.
Okay, yeah, levels are set. Paths are set. See what we can do. If we can flip this, looks great. If we can't flip this, then I'd expect this to just fail at our pivot here and then continue our rotation down on the higher time frame. Now that we've gotten our premium spike and we've trapped these guys into the lows. So really just, can we get back above and get back into previous value, or is this going to continue to fail, right? Like there's nothing really else here. So we'll see what they do. We've done the reversion target, and now we wait and see. If Russell can flip VWAP, you're in a way better position. If Russell continues to reject it, then overall trend probably persists. That's my guess. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna log out, I guess.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Peace.
you stay warm.
Appreciate it. I will talk to you later. I'll post charts in chat after I leave. Goodbye.
Peace.